As promised, tiny cards are back in town. So, yeah. We'll get to who the commander is at the end of the video this time, just because I want it to be a surprise. Some of you may be able to figure it out from the colour ID and what a few of the cards do. Although it is unlikely considering that it's only vaguely relevant to the commander. Anyway. So, yeah, we're in Sultai this time. Last time this card pool appeared, it was in Naya. Link in the description, I'll link up there for an event at Bad Wolf. That was partner commandos, Arabil, Anax, and Simidi, and Pelucranos. This time, it's one singular card, and it unfortunately isn't tiny. So, starting off then with the interaction suite, which is most of the deck, because that way at least I'm doing something. We have Control Magic, we have Shriekmaw, ETB, destroy target non-artifact, non-black creature. It's basically a 2-mana kill spell if you evoke it, which is good enough for me. Ray of Command, steal a creature for a turn. Remand, it's a counterspell that also draws me one and card. Profane Command, one of the few actual good spells in here. Target player loses X life for a turn target creature with CMC X or less than you go to the battlefield, or target creature gets negates until end of turn, or X target creature gain fear until end of turn. I've normally used this for target player loses X life and X creatures gain fear, just because that's usually the way you can get damage through. Beast Within, finally some good fucking removal, and check it out. Teeny tiny little beast token. Riftwing Cloudskate. ETB, bounce permanent. Spite and Malice, it's a counter spell or a kill spell. Again, limited kill spell, but you know, oh well. Body Double, it's a copy. Spell Twine. Let's see, copy one of your spells and someone else's spells from graveyard. Good enough. Claustrophobia. Well, basically that gives you access to good removal for a start. Claustrophobia, tap something down. Tragic Slip, another actually decent card. This one, I believe, sees play in Pauper. Let's see. Shadow Eye Denizen. Yeah, it gives you stuff Intimidate, which is fear, but less so. Agrophobia. Necrotal. 4 mana to destroy another target non-black, non-artifact creature. Your options are limited, but they're the only options you have. Recoil. Bounce to hand, opponent ditches. Ice Manipulator. Taps down artifact creature or land. Actually relevant, actually useful. Never draw into it in this deck, but someday. It's not like I have much draw power, to be fair. So, Stab Wound, it slowly kills someone. Acidic Slime, actual good removal. Better in decks where you can flicker it. A friend of the channel, Maya, had a Selesnya Flicker deck at one point, built around a meal that had this as one of the win cons. It was terrifying. Everyone else ended up with no board state. Memory Lapse, unfortunately, no fish to go with the Forgetful. Ah well. If it was in this size, I would absolutely run it in here though, just for the memes. Undermine, it's a counterspell. Brighthorn, it makes something big. It's a rare combat trick for this deck. Trade Find, it's recursion, sure. Vapor Snag, a card that I believe is banned in some formats. Counter Squall, Terrifying Presence, one that is very good if you're able to bait out a big swing from someone. Vraska the Unseen, which is in here mostly for a neg 3, just because the tokens just don't get any use, and you're likely not going to be able to plus her. You know, like, there's no reason to really plus her, because people are just going to swing with creatures anyway. So, Marsh Casualties, yeah, it's worth kicking, just because that way you're probably going to actually kill something. And finally, Prey Upon, a cheap fight spell. Oh, sorry. And finally, Grisly Spectacle. Damage and also removal and also mill. Vague synergies with some of the other stuff. So, onto the next pile. which is the draw power. So you get Oracle. If you look at the top two, one to hand, one to bottom. Oran Viper. Jace's Ingenuity. Jace. This is the Fact or Fiction Jace specifically. Well, the mini Fact or Fiction one at least. Yeah, the neg 2 is pretty useful. The one time I played this was with friend of the channel Jay in the pod. He was in his Vorinclex deck, which has since been dismantled, I believe. Which meant that I couldn't plus one Jace, I could only zero him. And every now and then, he would proliferate, which means that it's him putting counters on it. And I would get enough to actually look at the top 3 cards. It was very funny. Let's see, White Precinct 6. Yeah, it gets big based on graveyard contents. This probably should be the next pile, but well. Reaper of the Wilds. It gives me a scry when something else dies. That I can get behind. Eon Chronicler. Mostly here for the suspend cost, so I can suspend it for a lot of money and just get some card draw for the next several turns, then eventually get a whatever. It's not going to be that big, but oh well. Do me a cut purse. If it deals combat damage, I get to draw a card. Thought Scour. Opponent mills 2, I draw 1. Not bad for 1 mana. Deep Analysis, just generally a decent card. Highly costed for what it does in modern meta, but you know, it's good enough. Stealer of Secrets, another one that gets me card draw on combat damage. And Night's Whisper, finally some good fucking card. Draw 2, lose 2. On now to the Ramp suite, which I'm legally obliged to put in air quotes, for reasons that will become apparent. Nightscape Familiar. Blue and red spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, so blue spells basically, there's no red in this one. Regrowth. Return target card from graveyard to hand. This can get me a ramp spell back. It counts. Crozen Tusker. It's here for the cycling cost, to fetch a basic to hand, and also draw a card. Merfolk Wayfinder. It can potentially get me 3 islands or 0 islands. Sometimes you gotta take the gamble. Gate Creeper Vine. It actually fetches a basic or a gate, which we'll get to in a moment. Jesse and Zombies. Island cycling or swamp cycling. It's in there for those. Sylvan Bounty is in there for basic land cycling. Sylvan Ranger. You see now why ramp had to be in air quotes. None of those actually ramped me, but they mean I don't miss land drops, which is also very important in this deck. So, final category for the mana base is creatures that are also in the deck. We have Festahide Boar, Pelucrinus, and Carvu Predator, all of which have something to do, and Crown Ceratop, which do things with 1/1 counters. Slate Street Ruffian, which can force opponents to block, which can force opponents to ditch on block. Jace's Mindseeker lets you steal a card, sure. Archaeomancer, returns like instant sorcery from your graveyard to your hand, sure. Highway Robber, it's a 2/2 for 4 that drains an opponent for 2, which just is not worth it. But we'll get to why that's like almost viable in here in a moment. Errant Ephemeron? Sure. Deathhood Cobra. Again. Sure. Deadly Recluse, another one that's a classic case of sure. At least Deadly Recluse is a good blocker. So, basics then, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 swamps. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 forests. And 1, 2, 3. Oh, Chronometon. Another creature. It does counter things Fuck it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-ish islands. And finally, for the non-basics, Halimar Depths enters tapped, but it lets you decide your next 3 draws. Terramorphic Expanse, much needed fetch. Rogue's Passage, useful at getting damage through. Because God knows this deck needs all the help it can get. Golgari Guildgate, it's a legal target for Gate Creeper Vine. Tainted Wood, it's also a land. Evolving Wilds, it's another fetch. It's good fucking enough. So, the real question then is, who is the commander here? And where is the commander, in fact? What if I told you the commander had been here the whole time? We're going to fucking Barbados, baby! Yeah, I won this in a 2-head giant event. My team, me and Jamie, placed second. And yeah, well, that was down to my mono red deck. I'll get a video up for that at some point, I guess. It's probably going to be retuned a little once Foundations releases, which at time of filming is in 2 days. Well, pre-release is in 2 days, so cards from the set become legal in 2 days. Anyway, so Glob Calamity Logger then. Legendary creature, Frog Wizard Noble, Death Touch. Look at the top card of your library anytime. You can play land and cast spells with mana value 4 or greater from the top of your library. That last part is useful here, because there's a lot of stuff in here that has a mana value of 4, but some alternate casting cost that's less than 4. Which I think makes it castable. I didn't think to check that, to be honest, but either way, this is about as good a Glob deck as you're going to get from this card pool, which, as a reminder, is dual decks, it's Planeswalker decks Vraska and Jace, Bolas and Najani, and dual decks Heroes versus Monsters. Very limited card pool. You're not going to build anything spectacular from it, but I built something fun at least. Oh yeah, and just to prove that it can be done, just going to close this video by shuffling up this deck a little bit. I mean, given that the sleeves aren't the best, I'd recommend power shuffling it. Well, if it's been sorted like this, but that's the same for most decks anyway. Other than that, you can quite easily just, yeah. It's kind of an art to it, but once you've shuffled this specific deck enough times, you get a feel for the tiny cards. You become one with the tiny cards, and you learn to shuffle the tiny cards. Get back in there, you buggers. So you can very easily mass shuffle. Which, well, I say very easily. Once you know how to do it, it's easy enough. Once you're learning how to do it, you're going to spill cards. Just because it's so much... It's a different skill set than shuffling a normal deck. And these sleeves really do make all the difference. So, this has been Lucas Builds. This has been motherfucking Barbados. We'll link to the deck list in the description, as always. And I will see you next time for another deck. I don't know what I'm doing next yet. I'll get there when I get there. See ya.